Kangs are in the building, back like cook crack, back by popular demand. You know what it is. Louie T, Rio, Rico, the real Ed Oliver. These four gentlemen make up the Commanders Kings. And if you're coming at these Kings, you best not miss. How y'all feeling, fellas?
Oh man, well, I've been better.
let me start by saying this. It was literally a month ago, following the Bear Trap, a.k.a. the Washington Walk-Off, a.k.a. Noah's Ark. We sat here talking about first round bye.
It used to be a proper country, man.
The opportunity to win this division, playing a home playoff game. Ed was talking about Jaden for MVP. What the hell happened, fellas?
Better
How
time.
did we get here? How did we get here?
Oh man, it's
man. I ain't pulled out the mask since. Yeah. I ain't pulled out that lucha my mask since, man. It's been bugging.
Maybe we need the lucha libre.
Yeah, man.
I don't know what happened, bro. I don't even know how we got here. I mean, seriously, it's like the whole season got turned upside down, and now you're grasping for answers. You're trying to figure out, what is what. And I watched the film, and it wasn't pretty. And there's a lot of things that, going back and watching that game again, it was just jarring how bad Dallas was in that game.
Dallas wanted to lose that game so bad. They kept saying, can y'all just beat us? We're not trying to win. What are y'all doing?
It was fascinating to me how many opportunities they gave us to win the game, and not just win it, like blow them out.
Yep.
Like a blocked field goal, a blocked punt, a fumble that we forced, a turnover, essentially a 3-and-out that we forced that gave us great field position. We averaged in the first half, if you take away the final drive of the first half when we were in our 2-minute offense.
Who's at the 40 every possession?
We averaged midfield as our starting field position.
And had 3 points.
And had 3 whole points to show for it.
Am I tripping when I say Sunday was like the perfect reminder of what life has been like for the last 25 years during the Snyder era? Didn't it feel right at home to y'all?
Man.
It felt like Rivera was on the sideline that game.
It felt like Ronald Rivera took over the body of DQ in that game with the decisions he was making. I mean, who thought that was a fumble when he threw the challenge flag?
Oh, yeah, no.
You're like, bro, did you really think you were going to win that? And the 4th and 2 at the beginning of the game that he decides to kick the field goal. And of course, Austin Seibert missed. Who was like, yeah, kick the field goal. That's a great idea there, right?
I've never heard of that one. That one was new. Like that, that was a new one for me.
Yeah. The whole, we had a mile mark. We had a set distance that once we got to that point on the field, we were good to kick the field goal. Oh, okay, cool. That sounds like some shit Rivera would say, right? Like, I was like, DQ, what's going on, man? Like, what happened? And so it was one of those weird games because for the first time this year, it felt like the old regime. It felt like Snyder was still hovering over this organization. It felt like Ronald Rivera, arms folded on the sideline. It felt like what we had been running from and what we had thought was in our past and in the rearview mirror. It came back, and it was a quick reminder of, hey, y'all ain't out the woods yet. And the scary part about that was there were so many fans that want to believe, and they've been like 1 foot in or 1 toe in, and they're like, yeah, I want to believe, but I know it's another shoe that's gonna drop. And I've been fighting those fans all season, like, yo, it's different now. Like, you ain't got to worry about that no more.
That's
the
worst
boogeyman
part.
ain't coming to get you, right? And then Sunday happens.
Victories. I've been guaranteeing victories like Charles Barkley.
Those are dead.
confidence was so fun to have, man. I had my chest out for a good 2 months. Them 7 weeks in first place had me high, man.
Man, who you telling? I was unbearable. I made so many enemies during that little brief
and they pull up in the chat and they are coming with receipts. They are on our ass.
No, man, they are letting me have it left and right, and I can't say anything. I'm like, I'm not mad at you because if it was me, I would be doing the same thing to you. So, you know, I don't regret it. And I already said if we start 7-2 next year, I'm gonna be right back on it again. But
yes, sir. Oh yeah.
It's just it's humbling. It is humbling because just when you thought it was safe, just when you thought it was safe to come out, the football guys reminded us, hey, I can touch you. I can reach out and touch you from anywhere. All right.
Yeah. The Cowboys one is so weird too because like that's the worst one because you lead the Steelers game. Oh, you lost by 1 point. If Olamide Zaccheaus doesn't give them that muff punt for a touchdown, or if Benjamin St. Juice has any situational awareness and knows not to allow a touchdown in that very moment, you know, you probably win that game. Eagles, I mean, it's a moral victory, but you're up 10-6 in the fourth quarter. That Cowboys game, even though we had a chance to win, even if we did win, it felt like the Cowboys were the better team that entire game. And you couldn't even say that in the Steelers and Eagles game.
That's right. And that was my point. So let me ask you this. That's a perfect segue, Rico. Let me ask y'all, how did y'all feel about the extra point? Did you want to go for 2 in that situation, or did you want to kick the extra point? And we can just go around the room and kind of share how we all felt kind of going through that whole exchange. I mean, that was a hell of a roller coaster ride. Those final 6 minutes of the game, you go from, you know what? I think that's even better. I want y'all to cap off your answer with your decision to go for 2 or not. But I want you to go through those final 6 minutes. I want everybody to go through their emotions, how they were feeling. So I'm gonna set the stage for you, and then we're gonna go around. We're gonna start with Ed, and then we're just gonna go around. And then Rico, and then Rio, and then myself. I go last, but the score is 13-9. Cowboys just kicked the field goal. We get the football, and what's going through your mind now as they kick that field goal? It's roughly about 6 minutes to go in the game. This is right before the John Bates fumble, and we're getting the football back. And even though we played awful for 54 minutes, the game is right there. I'm gonna leave it there. Ed, pick up where I left off. How were you feeling? And then just take me through your emotions as the rest of that game played out, as crazy, as nuts as it was.
Well, when Schoonmaker, when he got the touchdown, I was ready to make the video. It was 20-9 because we couldn't move the football. Like we literally couldn't get a first down. Like there was a series where Jaden literally ran to the right side 3 times in a row. Then we threw the interception. B-Rob dropped it. So we couldn't move the football. It was 3 and out with good field position. So when I saw we were down by 2 scores, I was like, we're not coming back. There's no way this can happen.
Right.
But so after that, I'm trying to remember. Everything was a blur to me until Jaden started. We finally opened up the playbook. You could say they were in prevent defense or whatever, what have you. So we opened up the playbook. He has Ertz a couple times here. He has Ertz for the TD. And then it's 15-20. So then it somehow ends up 27-17.
We went for 2. We got it after the touchdown.
So Dan Quinn, I actually give him credit for kicking that field goal. It was a crazy 51-yard. Maybe you should have got a little bit closer, but Austin Siebert, who is on fake IR, really released in my opinion, made the 51-yarder. So that actually was a mathematical, analytical correct decision. And at the time, I was like, what are y'all doing? You know, but it made sense to do that. So they got the ball back. Dallas is so bad to the point where we onside kicked it, and we still got the ball back and still found a way to score. Terry scored the crazy touchdown.
Right.
I couldn't believe that. I was shocked.
Yeah.
I mean, I still was shocked that he even got that. And of course, the air goes out of the balloon. Like you guys said, Siebert looked like he didn't want to kick the football at all. Yeah. Goes out there and botches. Now, people are blaming the snapper. I still feel like you should have made a 30-yard kick. That's just my take on it.
Yeah.
So that 27-26. Oh, the Turpin kick. There's just so much stuff that happened. It
was wild. It was wild.
Yeah. The game was drunk. It was on drugs, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So, and then it makes me even more mad because Dan Quinn says it's harder to kick the ball out of the end zone than what you think.
Yeah.
And there's a stat that says 75% of kickers are kicking the ball out of bounds. The fact that they made the rule to get the ball at the 30 now and move the whatever the new kickoff rule is, so players don't kick the ball out of bounds because it was so easy and players were doing that. But we have a guy on Cybert who's not capable of really kicking it out of the end zone. Kavonte Turner is the best kick return in the game. I mean, it's not really a debate. I mean, he did the slowest spin move in the world. There was a block in the back, but of course they're not going to call it. Jeremy Reeves got juked out of shoes. Mike Davis is slow as crap. So that was a big loss in the game right there. And then we do an onside kick. I feel like we score again. We do the onside kick, and the Cowboys player is dumb enough not to slide when he should have slid to end the game.
That's right.
And then taking a knee, and he actually went into the end zone. So there were still crazy opportunities for us to still win that game, which we really should have gotten blown out. We should have blown them out, but they should have blown us out too. Any good team, like if we play like the way we did against the Cowboys against Tennessee, and Tennessee's really not that great in my opinion, but they're playing good football, we would get blown out. But that last sequence, Terry McLaurin making that play, Jaden throwing that pass to him was unreal. Cyber missing the kick. But yeah, it was just a whole sequence. The Turpin one took the air out of the building. That took the air out of the building, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's so much that happened. I get it for not remembering everything. I literally just watched the film, so everything is fresh in my mind. Go ahead, Rico.
The Bates,
I say
they can't throw the base. They can't throw the ball to Bates anymore.
Just let him block. He's like an extra tackle. Don't throw him the football.
Definitely a third tackle on the field for sure.
Let's send it get some snaps. I know Zach gets no yak or nothing, but at least he catches the football. And he's iffy. Even he's iffy. Like everybody's iffy except for Terry at this point.
I mean, Louie, first of all, big shout out to you to have the heart and the stomach to even rewatch that game in totality again already. I needed a couple of days. I'll probably do it later on tonight or tomorrow. Yeah, I needed a couple of days. One of my big takeaways leading up to the first 6 minutes is that if you weren't a Commanders or a Cowboys fan, that game was unwatchable for the first 54 minutes. You were just like, please, any other game. And I was so mad too because y'all know everybody knows I'm in Atlanta. And I have the YouTube package so I can watch our games. Why was that game blocked out in Atlanta? Like, as far as Maryland to Dallas, there were so many games closer. So I was like, why are people are expecting this game to be good? And then the last 6 minutes completely legitimized the whole reason they blocked it. So I was just a whole nother layer of upset about that because I remember complaining before the game started, why is this game blocked out? And then they gave us a good reason for why the game blocked out with all the shenanigans at the end. So now the NFL is justified in their decision to block that game out for me, even though I'm nowhere near either team. And there were plenty of closer teams. But yeah, man, I mean, I feel like Ed put it perfectly. I know Louie, I mean, you got it play for play, so I'm gonna let you go through with that. But that Cyber, and I used to call him Austin Cyborg, but I had to take that nickname.
I
had to rip that off the back of the jersey. Mr. Austin at this point, Sir Austin.
Pull one out for him, by the way. I think he kicked his last kick for this.
Yeah, I'll pull a little bit out for him.
Wouldn't be surprised. I know we're gonna probably talk about this soon, but it's even crazier that we had a backup kicker that hasn't missed a kick nor a PAT the 2 games that Austin Cyber has been out. So why did we force him back in if there were even if he had a hangnail? Why did we force him back out there that quickly if the backup kicker had never missed? I just don't understand why you fix things that are not broken. That's always one of my biggest complaints with anything sports, especially. But yeah, man, I think that Austin Cyber missed PAT was probably the most my heart dropped to my stomach feeling I felt in a long time, because in previous Commanders years, we haven't really had expectations. We've been playing with house money. We're just happy to be here. With a lot of the games we've played the past couple of years. But this, especially this season, that the way that game went specifically, there was just a certain level of, oh my God, we almost did it again, which takes me to my next point. You can't ask for 2 miracles. The Terry McLaurin touchdown was already the miracle that we got. The football gods blessed us with that one, just like they did with the Bears game. You can't ask for another one. And then that leads to the whole, in an effort to perform a second miracle, we lose Austin Eckler potentially for like the rest of the season now with it being his second concussion. I mean, it's just like we threw away so many great opportunities. By the end of it, I was like, we did not deserve to win that game. That's our fault. We have nobody to blame but ourselves. I was very upset after that game.
Oh man, that game was something, man. Like my son was with me watching it. I had a day. I couldn't do my typical watch party because my FiOS server was down till 3 p.m. So I wasn't able to do my watch party. I'm so glad that my internet did not work that day because
that was a sign. That was a sign.
Was the most silent. Like my son kept trying to get me hyped during the game. Kept trying to, Papa, they're gonna be fine. Dallas ain't doing that, and I'm sitting here like, son, you don't know what I know about.
You haven't seen what I've seen.
Like, son, you don't remember the Redskins that I watched. You don't remember the football team that I watched. I was so disgusted. I sat with my arms crossed like Ronald Eugene Rivera for 60 minutes on Sunday. And each wrinkle we were getting in the fourth quarter, I never felt like we were going to win. I was just in shock at what I was watching. I was sitting there like, I've never been in a situation where my son was more talkative than me. I was so disgusted at what took place. It was like a book series I read growing up. That game was like Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events. It was one after another. And it wasn't just us. It was us and them. We were taking turns trying to out-ass each other on.
That's right.
It turned into Looney Tunes at the end.
Yep. Brent Aubrey's getting kicks blocked, and this dude is automatic. We're blocking punts. We caught a pick and it fumbled the pick, and then a penalty negated the whole play. That felt like Kareem Moore versus the Saints back in 09.
yes.
Whatever season that was. I think it was 09.
09 when they went to the Super Bowl. Yeah.
This man got hit stick like Ray Lewis from Madden 05 after catching an interception.
Right.
It just felt like that drive that Ed brought up where we scrambled out of bounds to the right 3 plays in a row. I wanted to go through my TV. I wanted to go through my television because I was like, now this doesn't even feel like actual football at this point. Like, what are we doing? We lived on Dallas's side of the field. But let's move on to the fourth quarter, though. John Bates starts it all off with a fumble. We're driving to potentially take a lead. As bad as we've played and how much we did not deserve to win this game, we're driving to go win the football game with 6 minutes or whatever is left in the game. We start that drive by throwing the ball to John Bates. I don't need to see John Bates get tight end screens. I don't need to see John Bates get the ball in space. And yes, the play was designed to perfection because they're not looking for John Bates. They're not checking.
With good reason.
That's right.
He's not on anyone's scouting report to be catching football, and it almost seems like nothing good comes out. Last time he caught a pass, we didn't look at it, and it ended up being the slippery slope of events that killed us versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Nothing comes good out of giving him the football. Then they throw the touchdown to Luke Schoonmaker, and I'm just like, son, I might turn it to red zone. I don't want to watch the rest of this game. He's like, nah, chill, Papa. It's just 11 points. It's just 11 points. I said, okay, this worked versus the Bears, so I'll give you that. I'll give you that. And then we go get our little garbage time touchdown right quick to say, look at us, guys. We're in it. We did not lose by double digits to the Cowboys. We finally get our ass down the field. Zach, or we make it look easy on that drive. And you're sitting there thinking, so we just couldn't do this for 55 minutes versus the Cowboys. Everyone finds a way to do this versus the Cowboys. It took us 55 minutes to figure out that defense who kind of softened up on that drive. Then there's the kick return. Kevontae Turpin drops the ball. And it's crazy. You would think, oh, he dropped the ball. I'm hyped. Like, oh, we're about to get him in bad field position. I'm still terrified because why are we kicking the ball to Kevontae Turpin? We just ignored the fact that this is an elite returner, and we kept trying him all day. Oh, my God. And he picks it up. His spin move was like if your internet was lagging on Madden. Like, it wasn't on time. It was slow as hell, and it worked. It sit. Jeremy Reeves went sliding home for the run on that play. After the spin move, he takes it to the crib, and I'm like, see, son, this is why I don't like turn this game off. Let's not finish this game. He's like, chill, we got how much time was left after? Is that the 21 seconds left?
No, that
No.
that made it 27 to
That was
17.
right
Okay,
before
27.
So yeah, that made it with 3 minutes left in the game.
Oh no, that was right before the field goal. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we got it and got the rushed field. Okay, so we
Yeah.
get the ball back after there and we move it down the field. And my son's like, why are we kicking the field? I'm like, son, they believe that they have a chance to win this game. So they're going to try to not take any more plays to take any time off the clock. They're going to kick a field goal and we're going to lose this game by a touchdown. And it's just each event was just, I never felt at any point like we're going to win. And then lightning strike twice in Washington. That was another phenomenal call here, and Joe Davis called it.
Yep.
We hit this. We first of all, Terry was on the right side of the field, played a lottery for that one because Terry was not static and on the left side of the field. We put him on the right. We find this little pocket in this prevent defense, and not only was Terry on the right, he actually outran defenders. I can't think of it.
Since when?
It felt like since 2019 was the last time I seen Terry outrun an entire defense. It felt like the Dallas Cowboys secondary, they were in shock that pass was completed because Jaden put it in a pretty tight window, but they had no business. Had no interest in tackling Terry on that play. He scores it. My son is going crazy. I'm sitting there, jaws drop, eyes wide open, like, oh, this kid's magic. This kid is magic. And once again, this is some Team of Destiny type shit that we're doing right now. And then Austin Seibert comes out on the field, and he gave me replacement vibes. The movie Replacements, remember the kicker was compromised because he owed some people some money? He looked so shook before the play.
He wanted no parts of that kick.
He wanted no parts of.
I told him to look at me, man. Look at me, man.
I've never seen a kicker look at an extra point so shook, man. It looked like he had his life on the line. And to go back to what y'all were saying earlier, I think he forced himself back because he saw Zane Gonzalez coming for his full-time employment, and he's not trying to go back to the soup kitchen. And he forced himself in that game. But everybody said he was booming 60-yarders in warm-up. So, I think they put him on IR just to give him a great,
just to legitimize it.
Yeah, just you had a good season for us. You did a lot of good things. He comes out. Tyler Ott, Cameron Cheeseman's the snap.
Yes.
Tressway, and everything was just bad, but you still got to make the kick. It's an extra point. It's a chip shot. I know people off the street that can make that kick. And I'm thinking back to the game where Donovan McNabb took us down the field and had a game-tying or game-winning drive, and then we missed the extra point after we scored a Santana Moss touchdown. It's the most Washington us type of finish you could ever imagine, and I was disgusted. I was disgusted. That's all I got.
So I'm gonna ask y'all before I start, because none of y'all answered the question I asked at the beginning.
I know. I was gonna say that.
I've gone for two or were you?
Oh,
so I'm gonna ask y'all again before I give my.
See, there was so much stuff that happened that got lost in
It did. It got lost in the sauce. It's all good. Ed, did you want to go for two in that moment, or were you cool with the extra point?
No, I was fine with the extra point. I've seen too many times where people have gone for two and not gotten it. And we're the better team. It's not like the philosophy of, we're on the road, we're the underdogs. We were 10.5-point underdogs, even though we didn't play like it. Yeah. I thought if we would have went to overtime, we would have knocked them out, because I feel like the momentum was clearly in our way. So I just feel like if we didn't get it, people would have been mad at Dan Quinn for not going for it. But I understand. So the other 2-point conversion, we easily got it. So that could be the argument for going for it, because they couldn't stop Jaden with his legs. This was clearly Jaden's best game with his legs in a long time. He looked really good. He looked healthy at 74 yards on the ground. They couldn't really contain him. There was like a 3rd and 12, and Jaden ran for like 15, 14 yards for a first down.
Yeah.
But no, I would have did the same thing. It's just Seibert shouldn't have been out there. It should have been Zane, and I would have taken it to overtime, and we would have finished them off, in my opinion. But I just feel like if we would have went for two and not gotten it, then everybody would have been mad at Dan Quinn.
Rico.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to go for 2, but I'm not one of the people that's in the group of go for 2 that's ignoring the whole hindsight 2020 part of it. Like, of course, you can say obviously now that it didn't work, go for 2. But that's just also my nature too. Like, even down 2 basketball, I'm taking a 3. Like, that's just who I am. And then also with the momentum, to Ed's point, my exact thinking was Jaden Daniels in any short range situations with his legs included, the best he's looked using his legs in a while. I would have taken that chance. Just let Cliff dive deeper into his playbook. I know offensive coordinators, of course, they try not to show all of their cards early, like throughout the season. They try to wait until when we need it the most. He probably has some plays reserved for like thinking ahead, looking at the playoffs that he hasn't called yet. You may need to dive into that deep part of the pocket of your bag to pull out the right play to make it work right there, and just go ahead and win that game. Especially with the momentum, the defense is tired. I mean, after just running after Terry like that, I'm pretty sure they're just exhausted. If I'm a Cowboys defender, I'm hoping they kick the PAT in that situation. So that's just me though. But I'm not hindsight 2020. I was okay with the fact that he kicked the PAT. I wasn't upset that, like, why would you kick that PAT? I mean, how would you just assume that your kicker would do that? But me personally, I would have went for 2.
Rio.
Me personally, I was so like dumbfounded by what just took place.
You didn't even
I didn't really give it much thought, but it bothered me how fast Dan Quinn was putting ones up. Like, Terry was like, as soon as the first spike of his cleats touched a blade of grass in the end zone, Dan Quinn's running up the sideline with ones in the air. Like, damn, you ain't even look to Cliff or look to Jaden and say, what y'all thinking here? We literally converted a 2-point conversion earlier in the game with relative ease with Jaden's legs. Like, a 2-point conversion play where you boot Jaden out, give him the option to run or pick up an easy completion in the end zone. It makes sense. But I wasn't thinking about going for 2 because I'm still in the thinking of that 4th down versus Philadelphia killed us. So maybe just make the extra point. Who's thinking about us missing the extra point? As off as Seibert was all day, all you got to do is snap the ball, put it through the uprights. We're going to overtime. You were thinking about it. See, like, in the back of my brain, I still wasn't thinking we were going to win the game. So I thought we were going to take it to overtime and find a way to lose then, which would dig the knife deeper in my soul. But yeah, I wasn't really mad at the decision. I was more upset with the fact that Dan Quinn didn't even consider going for 2.
Good point.
My head was in a million places at once. So let's go back to that 6-minute mark after the Cowboys take the 13-9 lead, extended out rather, with the field goal. And I'd been talking to the mob all game, and I'm like, man, I told them when it was 10-9, when we gave up the immediate touchdown afterwards, I said, guys, I don't like the way this feels. This doesn't feel good. Like, we've been playing around with our food for too long, and we finna choke. Like, I could feel it. But that holding them to a field goal was huge because you can still win the game with a touchdown, right? We haven't done anything all day on offense, but here's your opportunity. For as bad as you played, if you just win this game, 3 weeks from now, we won't care that we beat the Cowboys 16-13. Nobody will care, right? Just find a way to win this game. We can laugh about it next year when we're talking about Dallas or it's trying to sweep them or whatever. Just find a way to win, right? First play, I've been begging for RPO, right? They go fake toss out of gun, and the Cowboys linebackers suck up. And the middle of the field is wide open. And I look and I see who he's throwing it to. I'm like, John Bates? Uh-oh. And soon as he caught it, I saw him getting up the field, and I'm like, this is a nice game. This is a good drive starter. All right. And I see that punch, and it's like in slow motion, and I'm like, no.
Yep.
And that ball comes out, and I'm like, please, somebody just come out of nowhere like the Eagles did last week. You know, Calcaterra comes out of nowhere and recovers the fumble. Somebody come out of nowhere and recover the fumble. No. I said, okay, I know I'm about to do something I have no business doing. Defense, I know you were just out there. I need you to hold them to a field goal. We can still tie this game. Hell, if Dan Rivera if he's got enough gumption, we might even go for 2 and win 17-16. I need you to hold them to a field goal. And I don't know what the hell Jeremy Chin was doing. I wish I could tell you. I wish. They take Quan Martin, and they were so shook. We got to get Benjamin St. Juste off the field. My God, he is killing us.
He's terrible.
So forget about the field goal he gave up. Think about how different the game is if he doesn't give up that deep ball before the half.
To the unknown receiver.
Brooks.
Jalen Brooks.
Who is this guy?
Who is he?
Yeah, created my player.
And so because Benjamin St. Juste gave up the touchdown to Pittsburgh in a very similar situation, right? They take Quan Martin and they scream him over at the snap of the ball over top of CeeDee Lamb. Like, we're not letting that happen again.
Nope.
So he vacates the middle of the field, and Jeremy Chin just turns Luke Schoonmaker loose
Wide
to
open.
nobody. We are awful at defending the seams, by the way. We gave up a touchdown to the Giants tight end Theo Johnson in a similar situation. We gave up a touchdown to Mark Andrews versus the Ravens in a similar situation. We gave up another touchdown wide open over the middle of the field, and we're terrible defending the seams. I don't know why we can't defend the seams against the tight end, but we give it up like nobody's business.
They watch film.
Of course, it's a copycat league, right? So now it's 20-9, and at that point, it's over, right? And we haven't done anything. And I can't for the life of me understand why teams decide that with the game relatively in hand, we're going to change everything that has gotten us to this point that has allowed us to build this lead and start giving you whatever you want. I call that portion of the game non-football, right? That wasn't real football. Somebody asked me after the game, I think Jaden's got his swag back. Did you see him at the end of the game? I'm like, that wasn't real football.
No, it wasn't.
Cowboys were playing 7 to 10 yards off on every snap, letting us have everything we wanted. Now, I can say this. Jaden, who looked flustered, and this is something I realized about Jaden Daniels. He is so prone to not making a mistake. He is so careful with the football that he is unwilling to take risks until we get to the end of the game. And guess what? I don't have a choice now. I just got to let it rip.
Yep.
He was standing so tall in that pocket at the end of the game. Now, guys were wide open. It made it a lot easier for him to just stand in there and deliver the football, but he wasn't antsy. There was trash around him. There was pressure in his face, and he just stood in there. You go look at that Zach Ertz touchdown. There's a hand right here as he's throwing the ball. He doesn't flinch. He doesn't move. He didn't buckle, none of that. He didn't backpedal. You know, he likes to do that fadeaway throw. He didn't do any of that. He just stood in there and delivered the ball. So we go right down the field. We scored the touchdown with just under 3 minutes to go, 2:59 left on the clock. We go for 2. We get it. It's 20-17, and I'm like, that was cute, but it's still over, right?
Yep, exactly.
Because so I'm cussing DQ out now, right? Because your dumbass used that damn timeout on that stupid ass challenge. We could sure use that timeout right now, couldn't we? So I know no matter what happens here, first of all, my first thought was every time we've asked this defense to get us a stop in a critical situation, whether it's to preserve a victory, to get us the ball back so that we have a chance to win, or to stop the other team so that they don't tie the game up.
Failure.
They don't do it.
Nope.
And you could just go down the list. The only game they actually got to stop was against the Giants in week 2. And if Malik Neighbors doesn't drop that ball wide open, we don't get the stop and we lose that game, right? Yep. So you go down the list of games and the opportunities they had to get a stop. The Baltimore game in week 6, they had a chance to get a stop at the end after Jaden has a miracle drive, takes us down the field 2 times in a row. We were down 27-13, and he takes us down the field 2 drives in a row and gives us a chance down 7 at 27-20. And they can't get the stop. And the Ravens get the field goal, push it out to 30, and the game's over. You go on to the Bears game, week 8, right? They should have beat us, right? The defense needed to stop. It's 4th and 8. Caleb Williams throws the ball 20 yards over his receiver's head, but Benjamin St. Juste grabs him, and it's a first down.
That's what he do.
right?
That's what he does.
Week 9 against the Giants. We got the game in hand. It feels like it's over. We give up that touchdown to Theo Johnson up the seam. And it was like 3 plays. Bang, bang, boom, touchdown. And you're like, hey, y'all can't get a ball back to the defense, right? Like, you can't not score here and give the Giants a chance to have the ball with a chance to take the lead. So what did the offense do? We got it. Don't worry about it. Drove us all the way down, got to the 1-yard line, took knees, victory formation. Don't worry about it. Because we know the defense can't get the stop, right? Steelers game the next week. Game's right there, right? Got the lead. All you got to do is get a stop. We had ample chances to get stops. You give up that touchdown to Mike Williams.
Yeah.
They win the game, right? So every time you ask this defense for a stop, not going to get it. So in my mind, I'm like, you really think the defense is going to get us the stop that we need? They need 1 first down. Rico Dowdle is killing us.
Yep.
6 a pop on first down. Every drive. You really think we're going to stop them? Now, they were 2 of 11 on third downs. So I was like, it could happen, but it's not going to happen, right? And this is the tough part about being in a group setting with people who, because we talked about this with the Bears game, where everybody doesn't have the same internet connection and the speed where they're watching the game. Some people got like Cox cable or Comcast or whatever, so they directly to the cable, so they watching it before everybody, right? If you got any kind of streaming, you behind by anywhere from 5 to 10 seconds,
and longer,
or longer, right? So in my chat, I try not to look down at the comment section because they're telling you what's happening before it happens, right? So I've been doing a great job all game of not looking down. But after the touchdown and the 2-point conversion, I just happened to look down and somebody's like, that's some bullshit. The game's over, man. I don't give a shit anymore, right? And then I saw a bunch of good games. We suck. I can't believe that. Oh, my God. And I'm like, what happened? Like, what could have happened that bad that the game, it's a 3-point game? What could have possibly happened? I'm thinking Cyber ass kicked it out of bounds, right? And they're getting it at the 40 or some shit. Like, that's what I'm thinking. That
would have been better.
Worst case scenario.
Worst case, there's no way Cavante Turpin scored a touchdown, right? So now I'm watching because I'm dejected because I know something terrible has happened. This is why I don't like looking at the comment section.
Bro, you look down at that chat while you're doing a watch party, and that joint can. I had to go get cable just so I could never go through that again.
Bro, I know better, right? I know better. I know not to look down there, and I did it anyway. And so I look down, and I see everybody going nuts, and I'm like, oh no. So now I sit back because I for a second I perked up. I'm like, man, this defense ain't gonna get the stop, but I perked up for a little bit, and I was like, so then I'm watching it, and the ball hits the ground. I'm like, it went through his legs. What could have possibly? And then he went Waterboy on us. Remember the when he was showing Waterboy the clips of how bad they were. They got the interception. He's running for the touchdown. He dropped the ball. He said, and he dusts the ball. He dusts the ball off and runs for a touchdown before any of us even know what happens. This man picked up the ball. This man did a hezzy. Jumped in the air. He's not even running, right? Hits the circle button. Like on some doom, 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 doom. Doom, doom, doom. Like some Family Matters shit when Eddie's shooting the game-winning shot or some shit, right? Like Carlton shooting the game or Will shooting the game-winning shot on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, right? Like some slow motion shit. And he spins, and I said, what in the Devin Hester is going on? And this man takes off. And I said, you got to be kidding me. So now I really think the game's over. Now, I did what Ed was talking about doing, right? I start getting up. I'm putting on my all black. I'm setting up the shop. I'm ready to get ready. Like, this shit's over, right? I really wanted to turn it off. But I'm like, I can't do that because we got 5. So I'm not going to turn it off. But I got it on in the background, and so I'm getting ready. I'm pissed. Like, we suck, man. I was so disappointed. So we get the ball back. And I'm cussing DQ out even more because I told him all week, don't kick to Cavante Turpin. I said, put your ego and your pride aside. Do not kick to this man. And you know him. You know how this man operates. And you still try to defy the odds. So I was cussing him out for that and the fact that we only had 2 timeouts left. So we get the ball and we drive it down the field. And the first play, let me go back in the timeline. The first play of this next drive down 27-17, he checks it down to Austin Eckler and they take his cookies. Give me that shit. All on the ground. And I'm like, oh, well, game over now for sure. And Terry comes out of nowhere and recovers the fumble. It's like, where you was at when John Bates fumbled at? Huh? Where you was at? Right? So we then go down the field. He hits De'Ami Brown on a deep comeback, and he turns up the field, and he's tackled at the 15-yard line, and it's a flag. We lined up in the backfield. So then they hit Ertz. They spike the ball, and they kick the field goal instead of going for the touchdown. So he makes it. And I had no confidence, zero confidence in him at this point, but he made it. It's 27-20. And I'm like, nobody recovers onside kicks. So I already knew we weren't recovering it. And of course,
not
we
with
did
these new rules.
Nah. So not unless you're playing the Ravens. There were 2 onside kicks recovered this season, and both were against the Ravens.
Yep.
So I'm like, not recovering the onside kick, which we didn't. But the Cowboys were so conservative, they went backwards. Because remember who your kicker is. You got Brandon Aubrey.
Yep.
If you just run the ball and get 2-3 yards, even if it's just 3 yards on this possession, you're in field goal range. I don't know if they would have kicked it or not because we needed a touchdown, but that man is damn near automatic. And I know he had missed earlier and he had one block, but it's still Brandon Aubrey. But they decided to play it super safe. They tried to boot us. We were all over it. They took the sack. I said, okay, this drive's over, and they're going to have to punt unless we give up something crazy on the ground on this third down, and we didn't. So they kicked it back to us with 34 seconds. And I'm like, well, let's just try to get close enough for a Hail Mary. And the first damn play, Terry goes up the sideline. We got trips to the right side of the formation. Terry's on the right side.
Yep. Play the lottery.
Terry goes up the sideline. And I heard somebody say that was a bad ball. That ball should have led him out of bounds. There was no timeouts left. I'm like, we needed a touchdown, not a field goal.
Exactly.
That was a dime.
That was a gorgeous.
That was a dot.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. That ball was perfectly placed. And not only was it perfectly placed, it led Terry up the field. And this is what I'll say about Terry. I heard your jokes about Terry's speed. Okay, I heard your jokes. Terry doesn't have any agility, but straight line speed, he still got it.
Yep.
He still got it. Okay. And so what that pass allowed Terry to do was not break stride. He was already running at 4. And once he had the ball, he was able to accelerate to 5.
Mm-hmm.
And so those Cowboy defenders, they weren't expecting 5.
They were in shock. They were in shock.
Like, wait a minute. This dude just caught the ball and he's running full speed. Then Noah Brown gets a piece of that last defender. I'm like, if he turns this corner, he is gone. He turned that corner. I said, oh my God, we did it again. So I told y'all when we had the Hail Mary against the Bears, I went crazy. Right? I let out one. And then I realized this clown is going 1. And I'm like, no.
Because you see him running up and down the sideline with
no. 2 is what I'm yelling. 2. And I had a flashback. I never thought we would be in this position, but I had a flashback. As soon as Terry was crossing the goal line, I'm like, it's Philadelphia week 4, circa 2023 all over again. We should be going for 2 here. Rico said it best. We weren't the better team in that game.
Mm-hmm.
If you're the better team, I want more football. Because if you play more football, the odds say that the better team is going to ultimately win the game.
Mm-hmm.
Who watched that game for 60 minutes and thought, oh, the Commanders are the better team here? Not me.
Nope.
So why do I want to go to overtime and play more football? To Ed's point, on paper, we were 10.5-point favorites. We should have been the better team. So theoretically, you should want to go to overtime.
Yep.
But not after I just watched 60 minutes of that garbage. Did we have the momentum? Like Ed said, yeah, I do believe we had the momentum. And so for the people on that side of the argument, I'm listening. But for all the reasons that have been listed, Cowboys were tired. They were in shock. They were in shock, right? In utter disbelief at what had just transpired. The same thing the Eagles were in 2023 in week 4 when Jahan Dotson caught a touchdown pass with no time remaining.
Mm-hmm.
Straight disbelief, like tired, everything, all of it. We weren't better than the Eagles in that game. We weren't the better team. You need to go win that football game. Now, we went to overtime, and what happened? We lost the game. I'm thinking about the Chiefs and the Bucks from a couple weeks ago. Bucks go down the field, score the touchdown, and it occurred to me, you can't ask Dan Quinn to be somebody that he's not. Defensive-minded head coaches are always going to err on the side of caution. They're going to be conservative when it comes to matters of being aggressive and going for 2 in the win. Look at all of the decisions around the NFL. Todd Bowles on Monday Night Football against the Chiefs, right? Had a chance to go for 2 in the win. You knew you weren't going to overtime and beating Patrick Mahomes. They didn't even see the ball in overtime. Defensive-minded coach. That's what he's going to do, right? Ron Rivera went for 2 the first time in 2020 against the Giants. Didn't get it. Told us the rule was, if I'm on the road, I'm going for 2. If I'm at home, I go for the extra point, right? That was his rule. That's what he told us the rule was. Because it didn't work the first time, and he got crucified.
Mm-hmm.
The second opportunity came around. We were on the road. We weren't the better team. You should have been going for 2. Your rule says we go for 2. You kicked the extra point because you were scared of what would have happened if we didn't kick the extra point, and we didn't get it. And DQ was scared of what would have happened if we went for 2 and he didn't get it. And so kicking that extra point, here was my thought process. I said, Austin Seibert doesn't want to kick this kick. But not only does he not want to kick this kick, I could see it in his eyes. I could see it it's written all over his face. He didn't have to say a word, right? I said to myself, if we make this extra point, the Cowboys have 21 seconds and a timeout. Who thinks that they're not going to get a gain of 20 or 25? All they got to do is get to midfield with Austin, with Brandon Aubrey, right? He can make a 68-yard field goal.
He sure can.
They're going to line up to kick it. Who didn't think that if they took a touchback after he just ran that kickback, they're gonna tell poor Austin Seibert, hey, kick this bad boy out of the end zone.
And he does,
which he can't do, right? But he's gonna try his hardest. He's gonna kick his heart out, and that thing's gonna go 2 yards into the end zone. And the Cowboys are probably gonna tell Turpin, "Yo, take the knee. Don't worry about it." And even if he decides to bring it out, they might let him bring it out because he's so dynamic. He just ran one back 99 yards. Hell, he might get it back to the 35 or the 40 or whatever. Even if he does that and he eats up 7 seconds, they still got a timeout. And all they need is one complete. Who doesn't think CeeDee Lamb ain't about to get an 18-yard completion, a 15-yard completion, and they kick a field goal? And that could have happened with going for 2. But I'd much rather have the pressure of we up 1 and they got to have it versus they got nothing to lose. We going to overtime if they miss this field goal. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that was all going through my head. Like, I don't trust this defense to get a stop anyway. go for 2. But he went for the extra point. It was missed. It was a bad snap, but Tress Wade did what Tress Wade does. He got that thing down. Laces out. He just missed. And at that point, this is when I knew we were going to miss. So right before we even get to the special teams unit getting on the field, Greg, I'm still mesmerized by Joe Davis. Terry McLaurin down the side, it's another miracle. And
lightning struck twice in Washington.
Lightning strikes twice in Washington.
That was amazing. That's amazing.
And soon as he said that, Greg Olsen said, hey, but it's not like this extra point is automatic.
Yep.
As soon as he said that shit, I said,
cooked. Thanks. Thanks.
He spoke that shit into existence.
He said, you've already said this, Joe. This is the worst special teams game we've ever seen in our lives. This isn't automatic. And I'm like, I said, Austin, look at me. Austin, look at me. He looked like he wanted to vomit. Austin, look at me, man. He wouldn't look at me. I said, this is why I didn't allow myself to get excited. I yelled one time. I didn't even get up. I was on my knees because I was about to type to the mob, hey, I'll see y'all for overtime. This shit's over. I'm about to end the stream. See y'all for overtime. So I'm on my knees about to type it. And then Terry scores a touchdown, and I just, But I didn't jump up. I didn't do nothing crazy because I'm like, I see Coach telling everybody we're going for, and then before you could even savor the touchdown, Greg Olsen says, hey, this extra point's not automatic. I said, oh, shit. And then he missed. And once he missed, I turned the game off. Right? I've never done that before. I just turned the game off. Like, I don't even watch this shit, man.
I did.
I don't blame you.
I turned it off. So after I turned it off, I always do my little score, right? My little score and stats and things is my little upper third in the corner. So I'm doing that. So in order to do that, I have to look at the stats. I have to look at Jaden Daniels' statistics, the opposing quarterback statistics, put it in. And as I'm doing it, I see the Cowboys have scored another touchdown. I'm like, what the fuck happened? They scored another touchdown. So now I turn I'm at my desk, so I grab my phone and I turn the game on my phone. And I see that the guy ran the onside kickback. I'm like, why would he do that? Why didn't he get down? So I'm like, okay, well, it's as crazy as this sounds. It's like 14 seconds left. Like, wait a minute. Like, they're going to kick this out of, we're going to get this at the 30. And Eckler runs it out. And he gets knocked out cold.
Jesus Christ.
I'm like, oh, my God. It reminded me of the Tampa Bay game when they were playing the Ravens. At the end, the game's over. And Godwin gets hurt for the season.
Yep.
And you're like, yo, bro, what the hell? We already down B-Rob, and now you take an X from me?
Yeah, man.
And I'm looking, I'm like, oh, my God, he's not moving. Like, I thought they were going to have to bring the stretcher out.
That was terrifying.
That was some scary stuff. Like, face first, not moving? Yeah. That's the second one of the season? I'm like, oh, man, this is scary. So then he walks off, which is crazy because it didn't feel like he was going to walk. It's similar to B-Rob. When we all saw that injury, nobody thought B-Rob was walking off the field and coming back to play snaps in the game, right?
I thought he was done for the year.
I thought he was done for the year.
I
told the mob, I said, oh, he's done for the year, guys.
He's cooked.
That's it.
I thought we would eventually get like a different angle, like an Aiden Hutchinson angle. Like at some point, like, oh, this is actually what really happened. You can see his leg do something crazy.
This is if it was one of them situations, they would have went, and we're not gonna show it to you. You know, they always with Aiden Hutchinson joint, they was like, hey, we're not gonna show it to you.
I thought he was cooked when they put the somber Fox injury music on the
doom 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 doom.
Oh
yeah. I said, hey, man. I told the mob, I typed in, I said, hey, mob, he done for the year, y'all. It's over. So Eck is down face down, not moving. And to my surprise, I thought they was gonna come back from break with the whole circle of both teams on one knee,
praying.
Yep. And then the cart comes out and they got to put him on the stretcher, on the gurney, stabilize his entire body, all of that stuff. And then I'm shocked to see him get up and walk. I'm like, ooh, okay. So then, it's like 14 seconds left or whatever. And I'm like, they got to have learned their lesson from the Bears, right? Like, they're not going to give us a completion here. Yeah, they're going to give us a completion. I'm like, oh, well, they're not going to give us another one, though. Yeah, they actually did give us two. I'm like, what are they doing?
Gave us a shot.
I said, okay, well, they definitely not going to just rush 4, though. Like, they're not that stupid. Yeah, they just rushed 4.
Yep.
I'm like, are they trying to get this joint completed or what?
He was setting it up too. He was putting the pieces together, man.
Hey, man, if Wiley was out there, like, Trenton Scott stinks. And when he rolled out the first time, Scott missed. Sam was helping him out. Cosme was helping him. And then he ran in a circle and tried to loop back around and give him some more time. And that's where Trent Scott was supposed to finish that dude off so he could post up and let it rip. He just pushed him. And so he comes on a beeline straight to Jaden. And Jaden's like, I got to get rid of this now. And he couldn't get and he got waxed too.
Yep.
And so it didn't make it as far as the other one did. And it was officially over. But I was like, we didn't deserve to win the game. We didn't. But how did a 13-9 game end up 34-26? That was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Divisional football.
There was
Yep.
41 points scored in the final quarter of this game. Wild stuff. And only us would come up on the losing end of a game like that in that fashion, right? For as euphoric as the Bear Trap was, this was just as soul crushing a loss. And to the Cowboys, no less.
And narratives are now being painted. Imagine the current narrative if Jaden saved us again and went down the field and won that game in overtime. We probably would have scored again. He probably would have got up to 300 yards. Mm-hmm. Imagine how different these conversations are at 8-4. Yep, Bo Nix and him would be neck and neck, but currently Bo Nix is kind of edging him out right now because man, I needed that. I needed us to win that game.
I'm still trying to figure out how we got here, man. I am befuddled at, like, I was talking to my guy Derek B, and he's like, every facet of this team has regressed.
Yep.
And he's not wrong. Like, the offensive line has regressed. It's gotten banged up, but it's not what it like. Cosme isn't playing as well as he was earlier. Biotish isn't playing as well as he was earlier. Allegretti hasn't been terrible, but cohesively as a unit, the offensive line just isn't playing the way that they were playing earlier this season. The receivers obviously, aren't playing great, but it is what it is, with them, because we know it's not a super talented group. Huh?
What's going on with the pass rush? Where was that?
Man, that was hard to watch.
Rush was comfortable all day. It felt like we had to blitz the linebackers to have any chance of getting pressure on Sunday.
Yeah, they had a great game plan
too. Deron Payne didn't take advantage, so they had 2 backup guards in there.
Scrubs.
Deron Payne was getting blocked by Craig Hoffman of 105.3 The Fan, right? Who is Hoffman? Like, and I'm talking about he is eating Deron Payne's lunch, bro. There was a play where I'm like, if that's Jalen Carter, he's gonna take Hoffman and powerbomb him 3 yards in the backfield and make this 2-yard tackle for loss. Instead, Deron Payne is getting sized up by Hoffman. I'm like, what in the hell is this shit? I can't get jiggy with this shit. Like,
who are these people? Who are these people?
Just to let you know, 4 pressures for the entire game. Pressures, not sacks, not
That's
pressures.
disgusting. Micah Parsons had more than that on Sunday
By
himself.
He was a problem, but every aspect of our team, you know, a lot of things have to change. Jaden is clearly from the film, and I'll say this, and I'm talking a lot more about this tomorrow, but from the film, he is clearly way more comfortable throwing the ball to his right.
Yep.
It is abundantly clear. So if you know that as a staff,
move the receiver.
That's it. Like, just make the adjustment.
I don't ever want to see 10 Noah Brown targets in my life. I don't know if I can take seeing Noah Brown being thrown to 10 times and Terry having 18 yards with a minute left to go in the game. I don't know if I can take that, man.
And you know what's crazy about it is a lot of times they're running mirrored concepts. So all that means is they're running the same exact route on both sides. So it's a lot of times. How many times did we see a curl or a comeback being thrown to Noah Brown? Well, Terry's running that exact same route
on the
other side, and the coverage is exactly the same. And I've always said, if all things are equal, if Noah Brown's wide open, throw the ball to him. If OZ's wide open, throw it to him. If Zach Ertz wide open, throw it to him. But if all things are equal, throw the ball to 17.
Yep.
What are we talking about here? Right?
Oh, yeah, we're the only team that doesn't feed our receiver. CD had 10 catches for 60 yards, but they were just giving football.
And they're just targeting them. Like, you know what? We don't got nothing here. Throw it to CD. Throw it to CD every time.
Why not?
The first play of the game was a throw to CD Lamb. The second play of the game was a run
to CD Lamb.
I mean,
you're gonna get this football,
bro. Like, what are we doing here? I just, why is this hard to comprehend?
Yeah, we be going 2+ hours in real time without throwing the ball to Terry, and it is the most frustrating thing in the world because the offense needs a spark, desperately needs a spark. And I'm watching Jaden just keep throwing incompletions to Noah Brown, to Luke McCaffrey, sprinkled in a De'Ami Brown screen. We're not effective. Remember when we were on pace to be a historically efficient offense? Where the hell did that go?
Boy.
Hey, look, man. You know what was so frustrating is there were opportunities for big plays, and Jaden is going to have to adjust, and he's going to have to grow in certain instances.
Let it go.
This is the last thing I'll say on this. He's gonna have to, like, y'all brought up the 3 straight runs out of bounds.
Oh God,
that was the epitome of like what it's been like to be a fan of this team for the last 25 years.
That was some Kirk Cousins shit.
That felt like a microcosm of the game, but really the last 25 years, right? It was like Groundhog's Day, that sequence where you just out of bounds, punt, and then give up a deep ball for a big gain and a field goal, right? Like, Are you kidding me right now? So on that last one, Luke McCaffrey is out in the flats, and he sees Jaden starting to peel off and get out of the pocket, which he didn't need to do. Zach Ertz was wide open on the out route, and Eckler released late over the middle and was open. And he ran when there was no pressure into pressure.
Ghost.
And so he gets outside the pocket, and Luke McCaffrey, who was blocking Micah Parsons initially, decides, I'm going to let him go, and I'm going to make myself an available target to you. I'm right here in your line of sight. I'm right here. If you just flick it to me, this is a touchdown, fellas. If you go watch that play, if he throws this ball to Luke McCaffrey, it's a touchdown. If this was Mahomes, Mahomes would have threw the bitch left-handed.
Yep.
It was that easy, right?
Or behind his back.
Or a hook shot.
Yeah.
Right? One of these shits. Like, it was that easy. Like, just all he had to do was just get it out there to him. And Jaden was so petrified by the rush
of Parsons.
One play, one of those runs out of bounds, I think it was the second one. He had De'Ami Brown coming back towards him. Now, it was going to be a tough throw. But instead of him trying to get the ball to Diami, he's doing that same shit that got him hurt against Carolina. He's reaching backwards, trying to stiff arm a defender, Michael Parsons. And I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Forget about them. They can't catch you if you throw the ball.
Yep.
Don't worry about them. That last one though was so tough to stomach because there was no imminent threat. At least on that play, there was imminent danger. And I could understand why he was a little concerned, but if he throws the ball, they can't hit him. That last one, he just pretty much took his eye off of down the field. And this is the thing that I was most concerned about with him coming out of LSU was he doesn't look to throw the football as a runner.
Yep.
He doesn't look to extend to be a passer. And then early in the season, Cincinnati in week 3, Arizona in week 4, Cleveland in week 5. He's doing it.
Yep.
He's throwing the ball on the move. And I'm like, oh my God, if he's doing this already, this man is like light years ahead of where I thought he would be at this point. And it's like since the injury, he's reverted back to things that he's comfortable with. And he's not doing the things that he was doing pre-injury. And we're humans, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're creatures of habit. And when we're not comfortable, we go back to the things that are comfortable.
Stick to what we know.
That's what you do. And right now, I see a lot of the bad habits, and they're not like, and they're all correctable, and they're all things he can, tighten up on. But it's definitely affecting the offense. And as much as I want to kill Cliff, here's the biggest knock on Cliff right now is when you watch the film, the routes we're running against the pressure looks we're getting, they're too deep. It's 3rd and 2, it's 3rd and 4, and we're running 15-yard routes. And you're just like, why are we doing that? Like, remember early in the season, we were good for a Zach Ertz 5-yard stick route. We just run 5 yards and turn around, and Jaden would throw it to him. When the last time y'all seen one of those? Like, we had one at the very end of the game, but like, forget about that. When's the last time you seen Zach Ertz run 5-6 yards up the field and just turn around?
It hasn't looked easy in like over a month. And Jaden, the biggest thing with him that I see is that he's thinking now. He wasn't thinking earlier in the year. It was all first nature to him. But right now, since things are going awry and he's getting different looks and the rib injury take place, you can see the thinking happening in real time, and it's slowing down what the offense can do. And it's a lot of him too. It's just as much as it is Cliff and the receiver.
He's basically reset the factory defaults at this point.
Yes, that's exactly what he did.
Pretty much.
That is exactly what he has done. Like, literally, that is the perfect way to explain what's going on right now. Is like everything was going well. You had all these great updates, and you were like, yo, this shit is fire. And then something happened, and you was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to factory reset this bitch. You got to get the little pin out.
Yep.
Hit that thing, and he's back to where he was at the very beginning, it feels like. And we got to build him back up. But
going back to your left side of the field conversation.
Yeah, it's frustrating because we know he's capable.
We also need to find out what war crimes Luke McCaffrey did, because Jaden refuses to throw him the football.
It's weird. Yeah. And especially coming from the training camp, we were talking about CJ Stroud to Nico and them, like how they would show up first to practice every morning. They're developing that chemistry so they can get off to a hot start. There's been no start. There's no start.
Luke be open too. He be open
wide. He was like leading the NFL in like yard, like a separation score and thing like that for like the first like 8 weeks.
Can't all be decoy routes, right? Like he's open.
I don't know, man. I don't know, man. So last thing we'll wrap up. Tennessee Titans before the bye. Gotta have it. What are y'all sentiments heading into this game? Like, where are you? Like, so I'll just tell you where I am. I've gone back. So I'm going with the RICO method here. I love that one. I'm going back to the factory default of where I was before the season started, right? My mentality has shifted all the way back to, hey, No expectations. I'm just taking it one game at a time, and I'm gonna enjoy the ride wherever it takes me. I have no expectations for this season anymore, right? So, where are y'all heading into this Titans game? What do you see transpiring? Do you think the Titans are going to come in here and do what the Cowboys just did? We'll start with Rio. We'll work our way around.
I view this game as our last dance of 2024. Like the rebuild, the recalibration, none of that is over if we lose this game.
Mhm.
But I think this is our last gasp of relevancy if we don't find a way to win this game. If we go to 7-6, like listen to how stupid we've put ourselves into a situation. Dallas's schedule is lightening up. If Dallas wins on Thanksgiving and beats the Panthers in the following week, Dallas is a game by. We could be coming back off the bye around the same record as the Cowboys, whose season was pretty much over. I've seen what the Titans have looked like the last couple weeks. Will Levis finally believes when he looks in the mirror that he's an NFL quarterback. The Callahan system, it took a while, but they're finally starting to understand. I'm looking at Westbrook a.k.a. and his big playability, and I'm wishing that Mr. Hamstring could play football this week because that's going to be a nightmare with Benjamin St. Juice, with him and Calvin Ridley. But I'm going to have to predict that we find a way to win this game. It'll probably be a lot closer than we want it to be. I want so badly for us to just return to what we were a few weeks ago, but I think that was a bit of a mirage, and I don't know if we can get that back. We're auditioning Jag old running backs, James Robinson and Boston Scott. So unleash Jaden Daniels, make Will Levis make the mistakes that we all know he's capable of, and we'll see what happens. I'm not confident. That
How
line
can you
is
be?
that line is gonna creep closer and closer and closer by the day. We're gonna end up 2.5 point favorites by the time we get to Sunday. But I'm gonna predict us to win because I do not want to live in a world where we lost 4 games in a row. We're gonna finally be out of the 7th spot in the P word that I don't want to use right now. But I don't want to be in a world where if we lose this game and if Jaden Daniels loses the game to Will Levis.
Yeah, man. I mean, I feel like a lot of it too is that, and to Dan Quinn's point where he said like he feels like we were playing better when we were more loose. I feel like once we got to like 7-2, even that 6-2, it started to look like it. It seems like we're playing not to ruin the season rather than to go win this division. Like it just seems more like, you know, we're doing so well. Yeah, let's just coast, you know, let's just take our time. Let's not, I mean, going back to the offense with, it seems like Jaden Daniels isn't even between his Kingsbury and Jaden Daniels. We're not even like attacking for real. We might take a deep shot, you know, to kind of scare the defense, but we're not like attacking the intermediate, like that 10 to 20, 30 yard range consistently like we used to do until like it's crunch time. We got to go. It just feels like this whole team as like a spirit has just calmed down, and or really more so tensing up, and we're just feeling like playing it safe, trying to see if we could just make it to a certain point. But I know for a fact I do not want to lose this game to the Titans because I don't want 2 weeks of loser feeling, basically, because with the bye week, we would have been losers for another 2 weeks. That would basically equals what it would feel like is 5 weeks of losing at that point. And I would like to go into the bye week at least with a little bit of optimism. I know it doesn't matter what happens. We beat the Titans. You know, of course, everybody's just going to say, well, it's just the Titans. You know, the Texas game was a fluke. You know, we won't get too many points from that. But it's way worse to lose to him, I'll tell you that. And to Rio's point, Jaden losing to Will Levis, can't have that. Please no. But I am worried about their big playability. I mean, that kid taking 10-yard slants to 70-yard touchdowns, definitely a concern with how our secondary is constructed right now, especially without the pass rush. I need this win, though. We got to get this win. I mean, just to Louie's point, it is basically like we're back to the expectations we had coming into the season. We have completely started over. And I think that goes back to the taking more risk mentality that we had earlier in the season compared to what we're doing now. We're back. We're not expected to win anything. I don't ignore whatever the Las Vegas says. We should not go into any game assuming we're the better team. Go out there and get that dub. We should win. I still feel like we're the better team between us and the Titans. And maybe the Titans will be a little high off of their win against the Texans. Maybe they'll come crashing back down against us or something like that. But we got to get that one going. I need a smooth, happy bye week.
Yeah, this is an uphill battle, man. Tony Pollard is concerning too, man, because Tony Pollard just put up 100 yards on the Texans, and we can't stop the run. We haven't been able to stop the run the past couple of weeks, really the majority of the season. So that's a big part. Obviously, Westbrook, Akina, and Calvin really going up against our corners. Marshawn's not. He probably won't play. If I had to bet money, he's probably not going to play until we play the Saints at New Orleans. But yeah, we got to get back to our bread and butter. I mean, like Rio said, the running backs is a huge part of our offense. B-Rob falling forward, like handing the ball off to Eckler, and you're getting in 2nd and 8, and now it's 3rd and 9 because Eckler is just not that kind of back. We need that physicality from a running back. So Chris Rodriguez is going to have to step up and fill that void. I mean, Nichols is going to have to step in and do that. The most positive about Jaden's game was his legs. Once again, we're going to have to rely on his legs. He's going to have to basically be Houdini, which is not fair to a rookie. I know life's not fair, but he's surpassed that point where, look, he's the franchise guy. So a lot of this game is going to be on his back. But yeah, some people about it. And their defense is good, man. Harold Landry, a guy that we were rumoredly interested in. He's a good player. They got a rookie who's like getting a couple sacks here and there and forced fumbles. Like their defense, Jeffrey Simmons killed us that game a couple years ago when Carson Wentz choked. Jeffrey Simmons was killing us the whole game. So the Titans are better than what you think. If Mayo Man Will Levis shows up and throws pick sixes, and he threw a pick 6 and they still beat the Texans. So yeah, we got to capitalize off turnovers. We got to wake up, lock in, get the ball to Terry McLaurin early and often. And yeah, we got to wake up, man, because this is a code red game. I didn't think we're going to have any code red games or must-win games in year 1 of the recalibration. But if we lose this game, then yeah, it's going to be rough, because even the Saints have woken up too. They've woken up too. They're better than what they were a couple of weeks ago with Derek Carr, and Alvin Kamara can surely do the same thing to us. The one thing I will say to kind of give us a little bit of optimism, a couple years ago, I am a history repeats itself kind of guy. Okay, we lost to Matt Castle, right? We lost to Matt Castle. That was the year we made the playoffs with Kirk. I know it's a different year and everything. We made the playoffs. We lost to a terrible backup of Matt Castle. Deshaun Jackson did a silly punt return fumble, kind of similar to how Devontae Turpin returned it back. So that's the optimism I'm going to
I like the way you think, Ed.
Ourselves. And guess what? We played Dallas in the last game of the year, too. And we
the same on the road, too. That one that you brought up was at home on a Monday night. So I remember that game. We lost to Matt Cassell and Darren McFadden at running back. Wow. In 2015. So
rush.
I am like flabbergasted how we even got here. I am still like can't believe that we're even in this position, but I know this is going to be a tough game, and in my mind, I'm simply like, look, I've simplified everything to just this. Flush November. All right. It was a nasty turd. The game against the Cowboys stunk. Turn on the vent, flush it, wash your hands, and leave November in the past. All right. We're done with November. We don't play another game in the month of November, and it sucked. Okay. Flush November. Let's move on to December. Let's get our mojo back. Let's get our swag back. And let's find a way to salvage this season. I've said this already. Dallas, that loss to Dallas has to be the rock bottom of this season.
Yep.
We cannot go any further. That has to be rock bottom. You lose to Tennessee, that's the new rock bottom, and I don't know if you recover from that. Right? That loss to Dallas has to be the rock bottom. It's the first time we lost to a team with a losing record. It's the first time that you have to look yourself in the mirror and say, hey, what are we doing here? Is this who we want to be? Right? What Joe Dirt's parents say? Is this who you want to be when Jesus comes back? Like, is this who you want to be when the football guys start asking who wants to go to the playoffs? Is this what you want to show them? This who you want to be? We got to tighten up. And literally, we're playing the Titans. We got to tighten up. And if we can't do it this week, who are we beating the rest of the way? And I know the bye week could change everything. We could come off the bye and be a totally different team. Man, we need to win this game
badly.
And I have no expectations. I can't even give you a score prediction right now. I don't know what's going to happen in this game. After watching what I watched and witnessed on Sunday, I have no expectations for what this team is or isn't going to do at this point. I am at a loss, and I'm just going to watch this game and throw my hands in the air and say, hey, all right, fellas, show me what you got. Like, seriously, that's where they've put me mentally. Like, no expectations. It is what it is. And I so badly want to play bonus football this year. So badly.
They need it. This young team needs it. The quarterback, oh my God, they need it so badly.
I want it so bad. And this is a huge step in that direction. And to all of your points, you look around at the rest of the conference and for the wild card, and it's getting interesting. Tampa Bay's about to hit a little hot streak. They got a lot of winnable games against bad teams. Seattle's playing better, but so the Cardinals are still around. That whole division is in the wild card race. Everybody's either 6-5 or 5-6. So that whole division is right there. And then you've got the there's one more team in there that's not in that division that is in the mix in the wild card.
Oh, never mind. No.
Not the Niners or
the
teams in the 5 and the 6 may not go nowhere though.
Yeah, the Saints are 4-7. The Packers are 8.
It's the Bucks. It's the Bucks.
Yeah, the Bucks are 5.
It's the Bucks. Yeah, it's the 3 teams in the West and then the Bucks. Those are the 4 teams that should concern us if we're talking wild card. But we're in a position right now where we don't have to worry about what anybody else is doing if we just win. Right? Like, we control the outcome of this season if we just take care of business. And with every loss, you relinquish that power. You say what?
I think it's 3 in the end.
Yeah.
That's the magic number, 3.
Yeah, you get to 10 and you're in for sure. That's what I see. But and there are 3 wins there. There are 3 games there to win, right? But exactly. We just threw one of those away. So now it is allegedly.
No, we'd be sitting so comfortable with 8 wins right now. Oh my God, it would be so less tense. We could breathe and just like, yeah, we got the Titans on Sunday. But now that we're sitting here at 7, like, could you imagine a world of going 7-2 and not winning 10 games this year?
I've seen it happen before.
I have seen it happen, and I don't want to see. I remember 2008 very vividly.
I've seen it happen before. I've done 96. I've done 2000. We were 7-4 that year. I've done 08. I've done 18. We were 6-2. 5-2 in that season. Then Alex Smith snaps his leg.
Yeah, 6.
And then this year would be the last. I mean, let's hope that it doesn't end in those fashions. But anyway, man, I digress. Anybody got anything to add on before we get out of here, man?
Oh man, I just want to have fun again. I just want to have fun again. Remember that stream on your channel after the Bears game? That was one for the books, man.
Man, that was we were out of pocket, man. I think the football guys really are punishing us for that one. Yeah, I think we were really out of pocket.
We didn't handle it with grace. We didn't handle it with enough grace.
We're talking about the MVP. We're talking about going to New Orleans in February, man. But we shouldn't act like we've been there before because we haven't. That's so right. I think it's fair that
let's just RG3. Just blame RG3 for the suit and the cowboy.
Yeah, I was about to ask y'all how y'all felt about that because clearly he had a shtick, but I just thought it lacked taste because of what it appeared to be. I get what he was doing. He thought he ate with that too. He probably stayed up late that night picking out his outfit and his hat. And he was like, yo, I'm going to kill him with this one.
Rob Parker told us what he was back in the day. We ain't want to hear it.
We ain't want to listen.
Corn, brother, man.
I said, man.
You could tell by the hair when we drafted him. My whole family was like, what is that?
Bro, this we lost in front of Jay-Z on Sunday. It was a star-studded affair in that owner's box on
Just
Sunday.
let you know too, the Cowboys are undefeated when Jay-Z attends a
I'm
game.
about to say,
Really,
and
we should
we're
blame him.
We're winless. We're 0-2 when
Yep.
he shows up at our stadium. I was
Yep,
like,
there
take
you
your
go.
ass home, man. Don't come
Never
to our
allowed
shit no more.
again. Yeah, we need to have we hold somebody accountable for making sure he never enters again.
That's right. Hey, you can't come in here, Mr. Carter. Sorry, you can't come in.
Say maybe a helicopter above the stadium. He can watch from up there, but not in it. Not in it.
Beyonce, you don't need to attend for yourself. So.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Somebody FaceTime him and show him the game or something.
That's nasty work, man. I was actually, so I'm like, are we turning into a must see venue? Like, are we that type of team?
Stars up there, son. There was a lot going on.
I was like, wait a minute, and then that's the shit we do, right? Like that's the show we put on for everybody. I mean, the ending was crazy if you stayed for all of that, but if you didn't, it was. Oof, I'm not coming back here again. But anyway, that's gonna do it for us, man. We appreciate y'all kicking it with us, and we from all of us to you, happy Thanksgiving to you and yours, man. Enjoy the food, the family, the friends, the football, the festivities, all of it, man. We can't thank you enough for the support that you have given us in this very short time of the launching of this channel. And so from all of us to you guys, happy Thanksgiving, and thank you so much for the support. Hopefully we'll be talking to y'all after a win on Sunday versus the Tennessee Titans. If not, that bye week is gonna be hell.
Paper bag season. I'm coming in with the brown paper bag. We lose this game.
I need the Lucha Libre Rico, man. I need it in my life. So we got to go get this dub, man.
I need MVP Ed back, man.
MVP Ed. He just won ORO now.
My man Ed was petitioning for that shit.
Oh, yeah. Standing outside, everything.
We working on offensive rookie of the division.
And we are down bad. Get back up. Y'all have a good one. Take care. God bless, man. And see y'all next time. Peace.
Happy Thanksgiving. Word to Dan Snyder.